This is Sweden, middle of Sweden. This is the story about when I renovated my timber house. Some things went well, and others did not. I bought this place a little over 5 years ago. It included 5 buildings, some of them in very poor condition. Nothing I can't fix, I told myself. Full of energy and full of naivety. I dove headlong into this project. I could fix everything with ease. Little did I consider that I had never built anything bigger than a birdhouse. But how hard could it be? First project. Lift this old timber house. Change the bad logs and then just drop it down again, no problem at all. I would do it myself. My time frame was a couple of weeks. I was wrong, deadly wrong. First issue, an old cracked log and a baking oven stood in the middle of the cabin. It was part of the construction and had to be torn down to replace the logs. I'll tear it down myself, no problem. It'll take me an extra day or two. Yeah, right. But eventually it was gone. Now I just had to lift the house and replace the logs. I bought 4 core timber and bolted them inside and outside the house. I was going to lift it with jacks. It took me several days to bolt these beams in place. Still very naive, I thought it would take a day or maybe less. I filmed some cool videos with my jacks, acting like I was a pro. I wasn't. One video actually got 30 million views on Instagram. I hope I didn't fool anyone that I knew what I was doing. I didn't. Lift in progress. Went okay at first. What could possibly go wrong? My wife told me, don't lift anymore. It's literally standing on its toes. My wife is wise. I should have listened.
Out in the woods of Sweden so green, stood a log cabin like a dream. I took a hammer, tried to make it right, but it tumbled down in the middle of the night.
The house tipped over and everything I did, all my work, was for nothing. To make matters worse, we were also supposed to rent the place to a family arriving in 5 days. I called in a forestry machine that helped me take down the entire house. I couldn't leave it standing due to the risk of collapse. I marked up all the parts because someday I think I'll build it up again.
Please forgive me, I'll build it strong. Brick by brick, I'll right my wrong. In the heart of Sweden's endless pines, I'll raise it up, make it stand this time. In the heart of Sweden's endless pines, I'll raise it up, make it stand this time.
It took me several days to clean everything up. I had now spent countless hours on this, and for what purpose? All I had left was an empty gravel pile. Don't do my mistakes. I'll keep doing them because I never give up. Don't follow me. I moved stones for a week. Some were too heavy to lift, the heaviest perhaps weighing up to a ton. I like lifting stones. It's monotonous, heavy, and worthy. From the dream of lifting and repairing a log cabin, I sat there with only a stone foundation left. But the stone foundation will soon have a new house, a new old house, as they say. But before I do that, despite a bruised confidence, I will embark on a new project. A project that cannot wait. Broken and without confidence, I stood before the next project. My first project, where I eventually toppled a house, had left its mark. My confidence was shaken, and a bit of fear was present. More than anything, I wanted to abandon the entire project. I got quotes, but it would cost me $40,000 to fix the damage to the house and a new roof. I couldn't afford that, and I couldn't leave it without doing something. Otherwise, the house would rot to dust. The walls were bad, really bad. The roof had seen better days. It leaked in several places. I was torn about what to fix first, the walls or the roof. I started with the walls, then the roof. In case I ended up toppling this house as well, I didn't want to redo the roof unnecessarily. This time it was more focused, less raw power, more focus. Same approach, but this time I'd lift one wall at a time, not the whole house at once. Well, everything didn't go exactly as planned, just like usual. But this knot, I managed to tie it up later, so it looked okay in the end. I could hardly believe it. I had actually managed to replace 2 logs on this wall without the house collapsing. Absolutely incredible. The first wall is now complete. Some of my confidence has returned, but the next wall is in even worse condition than this one. Cautiously, I bolted the new support beams in place to lift the house. Each beam was secured with an M16 threaded rod through it. A similar beam was placed on the other side of the wall. I then tightened these and carefully lifted with a mechanical jack on the outside of the wall, little by little. Once we raised the house, the weight was transferred to the beam inside. We could then remove the jack from the outside to create more space to work. The entire bottom beam was in extremely poor condition on this side. The original beam was 12 meters long and about 20 centimeters in diameter. I couldn't acquire a new beam of that length and thickness. Instead, I assembled smaller pieces and screwed them together. Many say to me, you should replace the entire beam instead. Others say, you should tear down the whole house and build a new one. Some tell me, you can't screw into a timber house, it's forbidden. I can only agree with all of this, but I don't like dragging things out. I prefer shortcuts and try to do everything as cheaply and quickly as possible. Carefully, we lift the house once again. This time we have secured the jacks with straps for safety. I should have done this with the previous lifts as well, but I simply didn't have the knowledge and didn't think of it before. I use a log wizard to level the surface. Then I attach an old floor plank here to act as a new part for the timber wall.
Drives each nail in Sweden's north, where spirits soar, a man's resolve forevermore.
Shocked but incredibly satisfied, I could reflect on my work. I really didn't think I could do it. I thought, as usual, that the whole house would collapse when I lifted it. My confidence had returned, but with still great respect for the loads and weights I handle, I leaped to the next wall. I've decided to try to fix the two bottom logs, as well as try to straighten the wall, which is currently crooked. I'll start by preparing to straighten the wall by attaching two 4-meter logs on both sides of the wall. I'll see if I can pull the wall together with threaded rods that I'll run straight through the wall. I used the same method for lifting with the jacks, but this time I didn't need to remove the weight from the inside. Then I cut away about half of the lowest log, which was rotten. I made a small mark on the chainsaw blade so the cut would be equally deep. After that, I pried the pieces apart with a crowbar. After this, I apply heated tar to better protect against rot and keep pests away. Then I attach a fitted piece that is screwed from the inside. The entire fitted piece is then painted with tar. Now it's time to straighten the entire wall. I bolted the vertical logs and began slowly but surely pulling the entire wall together. It actually went well. The wall is significantly straighter afterwards. But other things happen in a timber house when you pull on it like this. A door, for instance, couldn't be closed after this adjustment, but it's no major problem. I can live with it. Overall, I'm satisfied with the intervention on the walls and the result. But time is running out, and autumn is approaching. Before winter comes, I must have a new roof on the house. The time was short, but I had no choice. I couldn't let the roof stand another winter. I decided to keep the old tar paper and use it as an underlay for the new roof. The entire old roof was more or less covered in moss. I scraped and washed away the worst with a pressure washer. I'd never laid a roof before, so I really had no idea what I was doing. But how hard could it be? I calculated a 90% chance of survival and a 10% chance of falling off the roof. Good odds, in my opinion. As usual, I underestimated how long it would take to lay a roof. I thought, I'll finish this in 3 days. Yeah, right. More like 3 weeks. I started to feel tired. I've been working on the house all summer, but I finally reached the finish line. Just barely. Autumn came quickly, and then winter. Next year, I'm going to build a new old house, on the foundation of the house I tore down before. How do you do that? No idea, but it will probably work out. The house I plan to build will look something like this. It It will stand on the stone foundation I built earlier. Winter is long here in Sweden. I think I might be able to start in April or May, when the snow should have melted.